things like rhodiola, schisandra, lithococcus. These are all adaptogens. Ginseng. These are all adaptogens. So it balances your body function, fast-acting, and non-toxic. Those are the three properties of an adaptogen, of a botanical that's called an adaptogen. So this is how it works, and this is where it works. Diabetes, cancer, lupus, movement disorders, drug addiction, nicotine and opioid addiction. I'm the medical director of an opioid clinic, of a drug and alcohol rehab down in Florida. Incredible. As soon as they hit the door, we give them full spectrum hemp oil, and we give them high dose amino acids IV. And it works. It absolutely works. Neuropathic pain, osteoporosis, and various other pediatric conditions. These are the two drugs I talked about that the FDA has approved. And what about OCD, panic disorders, PTSD, etc.? It works. Depression, phenomenal. I have a young girl that just came in with depression and, suicidal, the whole deal. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I said to the parents, look, let's check a D level, let's get an omega level, let's give her some B12, and let's try some full spectrum hemp oil. This is not a miracle. This is part of a treatment program, all right? It isn't. You have to do the whole deal. So 7 ways that it combats aging. You can read that. I don't need to read that. We have a topical that's coming out, which is really nice. That's going to be, you have knee pain, we put it right on the knee. You have shoulder pain, you put it right on the shoulder. If your spouse is bothering you, rub it all over them, maybe they'll go away too, okay? So there's various ways to use this. You can use it on your knees, you can use it on your shoulder, you can just rub it all over your spouse, and hopefully they'll get rid of them. It's up to you, but it's okay, unless you want to keep them, which is wonderful. But let's talk a little bit, and I'll finish here, as to how we are different. One of the people that were here, they were sitting right here in these 2 seats yesterday, some of the folks that were visiting with us. He said, you didn't talk about the growth, how this has grown, and he was absolutely correct. The FDA is now telling us we have to track our product from seed to bottle. I need to know where I got the seeds from, what the soil was, how it was harvested, and what the end product is, which is fine, and that's what we're doing. We're tracking it all the way through. This is what they're just making things difficult for us, and that's okay. If this is what you want, this is what we're going to give you. So we have, and I developed a technology, as Dr. Hotze mentioned. If you take an oil, and I said this last night, knowing that I'm in the oil belt, which is Houston, I guess. If you take 2 glasses of water, and you drop an oil into a glass of water, what happens to that oil? It floats. It's suspended. How do you get that oil dissipated or into solution? What do you have to do?
Add soap.
You have to?
You can add soap.
Exactly. That's exactly what you have to do. It's called saponification. That's where the word soap comes from. It's called saponification. You break the oil into microparticles by adding soap. Our body does that through the liver, the gallbladder, etc. When you take an oil, why do we, people that have gallbladder disease, why do we tell you don't eat fried, fatty, greasy foods? Because your gallbladder is not working the way it should to produce those soaps. So that's what the body has to do. You take an oil, it goes into your body, and it has to break down. It has to become, and it has to produce microparticles called micelles. So your body's got to go through this whole process. If I give you 10 milligrams of full spectrum hemp oil, at the end of the day, after your body does all of that stuff, you absorb about 3 to 5%. So you lose about 95% of the compound because you've got to send it through this whole process in your body. What I realized when I was formulating this product many years ago was, I don't want your body to do that. It's like saying, your body needs vitamin D3. Why am I giving you D2? Your body needs T3. Why am I giving you T4? Why are you doing that? Why are you making me do more work and increasing my oxidative stress? Give me what I need. Give me T3, give me D3. Same thing with this. Give me a compound that my body can use without sending it through this whole process. And that's exactly what I did. I took this oil and it's called microencapsulation. It is a technology that I've been working with for 25 years, which is the liposomal delivery system. And what I did was we sonicated it. We broke the particles down very, very carefully through a process called sonication. So it now, when you take our product and drop it into a glass of water, goes right into solution. Doesn't float. I don't need to saponify it. It's already done. Bioavailability is 5 to 6 times greater. And how do I know that? Well, I did a clinical study. I took a group of people that cost us a small fortune. We drew their blood, and we checked your blood levels for CBD, and that's what we have to look at, and I have to say that, at 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and then every hour for 12 hours. And the graph looks like this. The graph looks like this. So if this is the graph here, I gave it to you, the levels were pretty low initially. At about 30 minutes, it was here. At about 45 minutes, it was here. At an hour, it was here. And then it stabilized all the way through. At about 13 hours, it started to drop down. So when I say it is bioavailable, and I have the data to prove it, on humans, not on rabbits, not on rats, not on anything else, but on humans. So bioavailability absorption is there, no question. Any questions? All of the processing, all of this is done. We get our hemp from Kentucky because the bees don't know the difference between the stuff we're growing for hemp and the stuff we're growing for THC. So I don't want to get stuff from Colorado because there's a lot of cross-pollination in Colorado. They grow for hemp and they grow for THC there. I mean for CBD and the THC there, all right? So I want to be focused and concentrated in one particular area. This is also extremely important. This is extremely important. As you can see, CBD is just one part of this whole process. It's like saying, and I used this analogy last night, I want you to have some iron from spinach. Okay? The iron is only one part of the spinach. It's like going to the store and saying, I want to buy a blazer. And they only give you the sleeve. But I wanted a whole blazer. No, you only got the sleeve. Is the sleeve the jacket? It's part of the jacket. But it doesn't provide what the whole jacket is supposed to do. So when you say, I'm going to just get CBD, you're only buying a sleeve. I want you to buy the whole jacket. I want you to buy the other arm. I want you to buy the back. I want you to buy the front. I want the pockets, and I want some inside pockets. It's the whole jacket that's here. Why is that important? It is called the Entourage Effect. The way God made things is for things to work together. Lycopene from tomatoes. I don't want to just take lycopene for my prostate. It's good, but I want to eat the whole tomato. Because the studies were done on the whole tomato, not on lycopene. Yes, they were done on part of the lycopene. I want you to use the whole plant because the whole plant has all of this, and all of this works together. The sleeve, both sleeves, the back, the front, the pockets, etc. of the jacket. And here's my prediction, and I'm glad this is being recorded again here, because I've been saying this now for 2 years. What is CBD? It's a drug, Epidiolex and Sativex. In 5 years, 8 years, maybe 10 years, what's going to happen is the FDA is going to come out and say, we got to stop using CBD because there are side effects. I'm telling you it's going to happen. Why?
Because it's not being used collaboratively with the other.
Because you're not using the whole deal. Vitamin E, classic example. Vitamin E doesn't work. Vitamin E has no antioxidative effect. It has no protection for the cardiovascular system. It has no protection against cancer. You're right. You're right. You used D-alpha tocopherol. You only used the sleeve. Vitamin E is alpha, beta, gamma, delta tocopherol, alpha, beta, gamma, delta tocotrienols. There are 8 different forms of vitamin E. If I give you just one, it's not going to work. Right? And what they said in that article was that the body was using gamma tocopherol, which is where all the good stuff was, and it was depleting the body and became a pro-oxidant versus an antioxidant. Well, then why didn't you use the full spectrum hemp oil? I'm not Italian. But why didn't you use the full spectrum the full spectrum vitamin E? I called Harvard University, Dr. Lee, and said, hey, genius, I'll give you a full spectrum vitamin E. All 8 tocopherols, tocotrienols, the whole deal. We'll pay for it. We'll produce, give you the product, rerun the study. Well, no, we're not interested. We've done it. You didn't do it. And then, 2 years later, they did it with a synthetic form of vitamin E, which is a DL-alpha tocopherol, which is a petroleum extract. Do you think that's going to work?
No.
Do you see what I mean? You have to know what you're talking about. I know basic science. I don't want to sound cocky, but I know basic science, because I do. You have to do the whole deal here. You need CBD, CBG, CBC, cannabinoids, other cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids. Terpenes are what burn off very quickly. People that, when you burn cannabis, it's the smell, those are the terpenes. When you smell a rose, those are the terpenes. All right? So all of these babies work together, and that's what happens. You have to put all the pieces together. And this is what I talk about here. It's called the Entourage Effect. So look at this. It has adaptogenic activity, but look at the B vitamins that are in there. Look at magnesium. Look at potassium and iron. Look at the omegas that are there. There are more essential fatty acids in full spectrum hemp oil than your fish oil. Fish oil contains between 4 and 6 fatty acids. This is 8, over 8 that we know of. Don't replace your fish oil. But again, it's part of this whole program. This is the way I always end my presentations. As Dr. Hotze mentioned, I was trained by the Franciscans. And for me, this is not a prayer. It's a way of life. Bring happiness to the world. It's all you need to do. Do those good deeds. Be kind, be nice. It gets you it gets you a lot. Ever check into a hotel and say, oh, we don't really have a good room. I know you'll do your best, and I know you'll find me a good room. This happened to me in Mexico when I went to Mexico City about a month ago. They put me in a smoking room. I went downstairs and I said, yo no puedo respirar. I can't breathe here in this room. Voy a morir. I said, I'm going to die if I sleep in that room. And she said, sir, we have no rooms. No other rooms in the hotel. I said, voy a esperar aquí. Estoy seguro que te vas a buscarme algo. I'm going to just sit here. I want you to do your best to find me something. It's amazing how 15 minutes later a room showed up. I mean, I could have gone and yelled and screamed at her, right? You think I would have gotten that room? No, I would have been sleeping in the lobby. But this is the way I deal with people, and this is what you have to do. It's just be cool. Just be a nice person, and just treat others the way you would want to be treated. So that's it. I hope I didn't go too long. Are there any questions before you folks leave? And I'll be around here all day. So if you see me, you need anything, just let me know. Questions, anybody? Yes, ma'am.
I guess just mainly dosing.
Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry. The dosing is a full dose is about a half to 3/4 of the dropper. Oh, by the way, shake the bottle. Please make sure you have to shake this bottle, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that settles. Before you use any liquid, you always want to shake it. Why? Because it activates the molecules. Anytime you shake, it activates the molecules. So the dose, start low and go slow. As I tell people, if you're using it for sleep at night, start off with half the dose because your DNAs are different. And if you wake up in the morning and you still feel a little like, you've had too much to drink, well, you probably took too much. So cut back on the dose, all right? Start off with about half to 3/4 of the dropper, or actually even less. So let's say between 10 and 15 drops to start if you're using it for sleep. Use that for about 3 to 5 days. If it doesn't work, go up to about 20 to 25, even 30 drops. In children, and I said this last night and I'll say it again, we love our children, right? For those of you that have children, we love our children, kind of. Kind of, right? I have two sons. I love them dearly. They run our business, and I talk to them. I literally talk to them every day because of the business and because I like talking to them. And we love them. But grandchildren? How many of you have grandchildren in here? Okay. Grandchildren? We are in love with our grandchildren. It's very simple, folks. So people say to me, is this safe for children? Well, let me tell you something. I give this to the love of my life, one of the loves of my life, which is my oldest grandson. To sleep, help calm him down before he goes to sleep at night. Now, remember this. If I'm giving this to my grandson, it's safe. It's safe. We had to watch them about 2 months ago. My son and his wife went to New Orleans for a wedding. So we had the boys, 4 and almost 2, right? I mean, I was praying the whole way there. That night, I spoke to my son. My son said to me, Dad, you can give him a little bit more tonight so he sleeps. So instead of 2 or 3 drops, I think I gave him 4. Yeah, 1 more drop. But it's safe. It's absolutely safe. In children, 1 drop per 20 pounds. 1 drop per 20 pounds. All right? Don't use this on your pets because we've got a little bit of xylitol in there as a sweetener. I don't want you to use this on your pets. All right? Yes, ma'am.
So on the note of children, I have 2 questions. One, brain injury. So if a kid falls, hits their head, falls on the ground, hits their head, something like that, would it be a good idea
Sure.
to use it?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. What's the difference? Because you're releasing what? You're releasing anandamide, right? So why not? Just a drop or 2, depending on the weight.
Okay, then the other question is on ADD. So what are the applications for ADD?
Phenomenal applications because, again, it calms the nervous system down. Same thing. ADD, ADHD, and they all go together. ADD, ADHD, autism, that whole spectrum kind of evolves together. Absolutely, and I have that on part of my slide there. No, not an issue. But again, what's your vitamin D level? What's your B12 level? What's your thyroid doing? What's your omega level? All right? Get rid of the sugars. You got to make sure the right fuel's in there too. Yes, ma'am.
Is it something that you just put the droppers in your mouth?
Yes.
Or you have to have it with water?
The
And then
drops.
when it starts peeing, does it go on your skin?
What you have here right now is an oral compound. Ideally, I'm glad you brought this up too. Folks, this does not taste like candy. It is not meant to be candy. I will not make this a candy. Does it taste good? No.
I think it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, some people, no, my sons say the same thing. They said, Dad, why are you saying that?
Yeah.
Because everybody's palate is different. So it's different. If you don't like it, ideally I want it right in your mouth, because that's the way we did the study. Can you put it in an ounce of water? Absolutely. That's what I do. That's what we do with our grandson. Just a teeny bit of water, no problem. He's great. That's the best way to use it. I don't want you using it topically. No. We're coming out with a topical. You'll have that by the end of the month, beginning of the year. Topical is wonderful. Who should not use this? If you're on blood thinners, cut the dose in half. If you're on anything that goes through the liver, cut the dose in half. But it's still not an issue. Yes, ma'am.
If it helps with sleep and can make you dream more, can nightmares be worse? Or does kids have nightmares and you're trying to give it to them for sleep?
I have not heard that. I have not heard that. If that happens, cut the dose back a little bit. Cut the dose.
And a melatonin can make nightmares.
Yeah, melatonin. Do you know what? I have formulated a lot of products, as I said before. I've only put 2 products. I had a chocolate line that I used for sleep, dark chocolate with 5-HTP melatonin and GABA. I don't use a lot of melatonin. I know that there are people who love melatonin. I think the secondary effects of that are, I'm not a fan. But cut the dose. Yes?
How long does it take to see results for something like depression, anxiety, or something like that?
Excellent question. Excellent. How long does it take to see results? Depression, anxiety. This is not something that's going to, boom, work right away. It takes time to saturate those receptors. So, it may take you a week. It may take you a month. You have to stay with the program here. Why do I tell people to give everything 3 months to 4 months? Why do how long do vitamins take to work? I tell people 3 to 4 months. Why do I say that?
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different, but there's a physiologic reason for that.
You gotta saturate, you gotta rebuild your stores.
You have to saturate all of the cells in your body. The red blood cell lives for 120 days. The red blood cell carries the nutrients and everything everywhere. So I tell people the red blood cell lives for 120 days. That's why you check a hemoglobin A1C, right? It's a 120-day check of your sugar. Same thing. You have to give it time. You have to give this time. Don't expect to have results immediately. Some people for sleep, yeah, you may sleep immediately that night. But if you don't, increase the dose and give it a little bit of time. Usually, within a week to 2 weeks, you should really start to feel something. ¿Alguien otros? ¿Nada? Muy bien para todos. Thank you very much, folks. God bless you and have a very Merry
Thank you,
Christmas.
Doctor.
Thank you.